art of the deal. Now this goes to anybody that's actually in real estate. And I really need you to listen to this carefully, specifically for people that are just getting into real estate industry. People that have been in it for 20 years, they can take my advice if they want to, but the good chance is they're not going to listen to what I say because they're already doing things their way and it's potentially working for them. Rule 1 in real estate: you are working for your seller. So if somebody gives you property to sell, never forget, person that pays you is the seller, not the buyer. Now the reality is, if you become a new real estate agent and you're gonna start working with some real estate office, and 9 out of 10 real estate offices or principals that are running it, they will train you to do whatever you can to put the deal together. Doesn't matter if it's squeezing the seller down to go with the price or pushing the buyer. They are teaching you to close the deal. Now closing deals is fun. That's how we all make money, right? Let's face it. But saying that, most people like to have it easy. And most real estate agents that are out there, they will just push the buyer enough and push the seller enough to take the deal and walk away. They won't push hard. When it comes to reading the play, what I mean by reading the play is when it comes to negotiating with the buyer, you really have to be focused and learn how to read the buyer and to see how much more money it is in that buyer's pockets. Now, for example, I sold a house for $3.3 million. I knew my seller was prepared to take $3 million, but I felt in my gut that the house is actually worth more than $3 million and buyer has more money to give to me. And I kept pushing. But you also have to be calculated how far you push without actually losing the buyer. That's a story for another day. But take this really seriously. Do whatever you can and put it in your head that you are working for the seller, not just for the sake of putting the deal together. Don't beat your seller. The art of the deal is trying to put pressure on the buyer, not on your seller when it comes to real estate. The only way you're going to do that, it is if you truly work for the seller. Now, study the play. Study your buyer, people you talk to. If buyer wants to make an offer, study him. Don't just focus what kind of car he drives. See where he lives, what he does for a living. What I always say, you don't go to war with guns and no bullets. So when you go to war, make sure your guns are loaded. And going to war when it comes to negotiating is learn everything about the person you're negotiating with. Before you even start negotiating, end up talking to him for 30 minutes if you have to, just reading him to see how much of your time he's really worth and how hard you can push him without actually losing him. Very crucial. I just had a conversation with one of my sellers. I sold his home for $3.5 million. And he said in the message, Emil, I have no issues recommending you. And he has recommended me. I just sold another house for $1.4 million. Thanks to him recommending me to a friend of his. And I just sold another house for just under $1.2 million because the same seller that I sold his home for $3.5 million has recommended me to somebody else. Why? Because I truly work for my seller. He pays me. Now, for you to truly work for your seller, you need one thing mainly as well. Get rid of the fear. Most agents, they are focused on one thing, which is commission. That's how they get paid, right? But the reality is, the reason why they don't push the boundary, they don't push buyers too hard, because they're afraid. They're afraid that they're gonna lose the deal. Get rid of the fear and you'll see how far you're gonna go when it comes to negotiating. So, fear, take it out. Don't just think, oh shit, don't just think about your commission. When you're negotiating with somebody, you need to think to yourself, you know what, actually in my mind, I think I got 100 buyers, even if I only got one. And that's a skill that you need to learn. To have that skill, get rid of the fear. Trust me, you'll become a lot more powerful negotiator than what you are. Then your competition, they will fear you. They will hate your guts like a lot of them hate mine. That's their problem, not mine. They will fear you because they know you're good and you got no fear when it comes to pushing the boundaries. Quite often, I would talk to agents that I know, and those agents would go against me, or those agents would have current sellers, and those sellers would tell them, oh, Emil got really good price somewhere else, or Emil got good price for that home or that home, and they'll hate it because they can't get it. Why? Because they have fear to push the boundary. If you're just working for the deal, you will never be personally satisfied, and you will never think that you are the greatest. You are phenomenal. Because fear is holding you, because you only work for commission. I work to be the best version of myself. Have a good day.